Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Tonight, it's all about taking yourself from the basics of rent-to-rent cash flow into the more advanced world of property development. So we're a little bit early, probably 20 seconds early, but with the way the system's set, people will come in pretty much on time. So we'll just wait for those to join. Any questions that you have, you should see like a yellow post-it note. Please put those in the chat box. They are private, so don't be worried that you're asking anything that you shouldn't or anything like that. There's no such thing as a silly question, so to speak, right? And I will answer these questions for you. Also, when Jason and Sarah hop on, and we're going to do that quite quickly. It's not going to be like a long webinar for half an hour and then they come on. So I'm going to talk for probably 10 minutes, maybe not even that. And then those guys will come on and you'll see their faces on the screen. Excellent, good man. So if you can also just, let's just put this out there. If you can see and hear me, just type yes, that'll be great. Otherwise, read the message or whatever. I don't know how that works. So either you can or you can't, right? So just making sure that we've got Jason and Sarah on board. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you that you're on, yeah. They're just trying to get on. Okay. Right, here we go. Ah, they're in. So that's good. So just make sure that we have them in here. They will come up pretty much straight away. And what I will do, because of our bandwidth, we may have issues. So once they come in, you're going to lose my pretty face, all right? Which is not such a bad thing, I guess. So as soon as they come in, I'll do a quick, and they've just joined, so technology is working. So I'll basically turn off my camera as soon as they come in, just to make sure we get the bandwidth and we don't get it. Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
I'm just going to kill my camera, just explaining so that we have the bandwidth. So I think I can see Jason maybe to your left.
Yep.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, Jason. So if you guys can just mute yourself for a minute, I'm going to talk for 5 minutes and then I'll introduce you back in.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So I'm just going to share my screen so everyone can see the presentation. Please let me know that you can see it when you get it. Should be working now. And we'll just quickly share that. So please let me know again that you can see and hear that. I don't want to talk for 10 minutes and you can't see or hear. Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you. So as we explained in the marketing, if you like, this is a lot of people are getting into rent, more so service accommodation, and we want to help those who get into it create a clear framework and a clear path to go from creating cash flow. Now, a lot of people call it's basic. It's not that basic because there is a lot of intense work that you need to do. But once the ship gets off the ground, you're going to make a lot of money. Now, what do you do after service accommodation or rent to rent? Well, for some, they don't do anything after. They just continue to do what they're doing. And we've got students who are making a lot of money each month and they've taken it on as a true business. So if it is something that you want to use as a stepping stone to get into your developments or buy-to-lets or flips or whatever it might be, I might add that if you were thinking about buy-to-let or buy-to-keep, as some people might say it, I would probably call it buy-to-SA because of all the different capital allowances that are available now. It can save you a fortune in tax, and you can also get a lot more income from it as well. But we'll chat about that afterwards. So Sarah, I think it was about she'll correct me when she comes on, maybe two and a half years ago that we sat down, and she was asking me about property, and you know, I told her about what we do. We went out and did a lot of viewings and did a lot of work and that type of thing, and getting into the basics of setting up developments. And we were looking at, you know, big farmhouses. We were looking at other apartment type things, and then property in her area in Norwich. And so she got a good grounding there, but she was working full time, albeit it was her own business. So again, she was a lab technician. She started her own business, quite entrepreneurial, because this is something that she decided to get into a few years ago, went and got herself educated, and then she started up her own business, which is very successful. But she had this burning desire to get into property. There was obviously a lot more profits available. The working hours, she thought, were going to be a lot less, but probably a lot more. And again, what we're going to tell you here tonight is good, the bad, and the ugly, warts and all. We're not going to tell you that you can put in 100 grand and be a millionaire in a year or 18 months, anything like that. We want to tell you realistic stuff. And then Jason and Sarah, they can tell you all of their story. So I've said to them, please don't hold back. Tell people the bad stuff, the ugly stuff, but also tell them the really good stuff, obviously. So thanks for joining. So as I've said, it will be Sarah and Jason. If you want contact deals for these guys afterwards, please let us know, because they are very interested in helping others with joint ventures. And we can talk more about that after the webinar tomorrow, etc., or the next day, or you can get in contact with them directly. I know there's a lot of people on here who I already know, and I think that Jason and Sarah already know as well, because they're quite active out there networking. So for the next couple of minutes, we'll just talk about the short game before they come on. So there are two things, two games in property, if you like. There's the short, and then there's the long game. And you can probably guess what they are. Your short-term gain is your cash flow. Short-term gains are not come from developments, because it may take you 6 months, a year, 18 months. Some people it takes 3 or 4 or 5 years, but it's because they're much less active. So it can take you a long time to find a development. Then it's going to take you a minimum 9, 12 months for that to actually come to fruition and you to get any money at the end. So there's also a lot of work in between. Now, if you do large deals, you're going to have some experience. If you don't have experience, you're going to need to joint venture with somebody who does have experience. And again, that's something that Sarah and Jason will talk about as well. So the short term is your cash flow. Without the cash flow, you still have to rely on your job. So you're not actually working in property. If you're working in property, you get to understand more about tenants, you get to understand more about financing, you get to understand about being a landlord. Although if you're doing it rent to rent, you still understand what it's like to be a landlord, although you're a secondary, not a primary landlord, because you don't own it. And then from there, you earn the cash flow, which will give you enough to be able to cover your job. Now, when I say cover your job, if your job is $5 grand a month, you don't want to say to yourself, right, I'm earning $5 grand a month, now I'll quit. Because, you know, just like anything, the property game does have its little waves, and you have your ups and downs. And service accommodation, you have your real peaks, and then you have your lower things, and you know, your lower moments. And we do have ways of stabilizing it, if you like. And again, one of the groups that I was talking on today, you know, we talk about stabilizing it with either professionals, business people, and then there's other ways of promotions and that type of thing, but we won't cover that here. And then your long game. So once you've taken care of your cash flow, you're now working full-time in property, which is exactly what Sarah was doing. I know she was still doing the odd tooth here and there, but it was just money for old rope at the end of the day there. And then from there, you have time, because you're out, you know estate agents, you know how they work, you're talking to these people, and now you can start dropping into the mix that you're looking for developments. Now you've got this social proof, this trust already because you've done business with them for a year or two or whatever. In Sarah's case, just over 2. And I believe that one of the landlords who she was actually renting a property off for rent to rent bought her first deal. So, you know, that works in that way. But the experience is the key thing here. And then you start to meet other people because they start to see that you're doing well in property. So again, you're getting the social proof. And then what they do is they say, you know, hey, I want a slice of that cake. It sounds really good. How did you do it? How did you get into it? And then you start talking, and then all of a sudden, pop, you've got a joint venture partner. Now, whether that's other people's money, other people's knowledge, other people's education, other people's experience, whatever it is, you're leveraging whatever it is that that person has to help you to go out and get finance and whatever it might be. The problem is that most people ignore the short game. Now, I know there's 100 courses out there that say, hey, you can be a developer in 1 week. Bullshit. Hey, you can do a residential to a commercial to resi, and you can go to a 2-day course and you know everything about it and you're king for a day. More bullshit. You cannot do that. You need to continually learn. You need to have somebody with you who has that, because the finance companies are just going to give you 2 big fat fingers and say, get stuff. You have no experience. You don't know what you're talking about. Bye-bye. I don't care if you've done a 2-day course and I don't know where you've done it. So it's not enough to get into that. So there are ways that you need to, you know, network, and Jason and Sarah will talk about that. Now, from these courses, you get information overload, you get strategy frustration. What the hell do I do? Where do I go? Do I go commercial resi? Do I flip? Do I go bungalows? Do I go flats? Do I go, you know, Victorian houses? Do they have to be double fronted? Do I go freaking micro flat? Do I go commercial? Do I go resi mix? What the hell do I do? So then all of a sudden you're overwhelmed. You got all this frustration. You hear all the stories about everyone doing really well, but to be honest, that's a load of bullshit. There's probably 10% of the people doing really well. The other 90% just talk a load of crap and say, you know, pipeline. Yes, I've got this deal. Do you want this deal? Or they're sourcing, or they're trying to pass you deals that nobody else wants. So, you know, here 5, 10 grand or whatever. And then the people who are experienced, hey, they'll take it because they know what the hell they're doing. They lose money. Everyone gets a bad name, and you know, they're finished in it. So we like to ease you into it, you know, learn the processes of property, learn about the frustration that you are going to have to handle if you do want to become a landlord. Learn about how, you know, you are going to get overwhelmed by some paperwork and this type of thing. When you do developments, you're going to get overwhelmed by the bloody council, by the architect, by the planning consultant. Some of you probably thinking, well, I didn't know how to use those. Of course you do. Then there's your accountant, then there's your solicitor. You're basically a puppet master for all these people. And, you know, you're the one who they all come to at the end of the day. And the worst thing is you don't take action. You go to these courses, you get all this information, you go to the bloody property meets, you go to pins, you go to fins, fans, bands, whatever it is, and you do nothing with it. I see people all the time posting shit on Facebook. Oh, who's going to this pin? Who's going to that pin? And the people the most vocal on Facebook are doing fuck all in property. So focus on what it is you need to do. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of rant because I'm sick of seeing people waste money and not do anything with it. So please, if you do what we tell you and what we show you, you know, you will build a nice, solid bit of wealth for yourself, not get rich quick. You will build yourself long-term wealth. This is not get rich, get quick. We do have people who have gone from 0 to hero very quickly, but it's a mindset that they have, and you have to learn that before you jump off the bloody bridge. So enough of that. Let's get into why we're here. Let's introduce Sarah and Jason. There are their lovely photos. In case you haven't seen them, you can't see them clearly on the photos. So if you see them at network events, they are constantly at network events, but these are one of the 10% where they actually are doing something. So I'm going to stop sharing my page right now. We're going to go back to Jason and Sarah. Where are you, Jason and Sarah? Are you there? Are you there? Jason, Sarah? Okay, so I can see that they're still there. Can you please let me know, that everyone, that you can still see and hear us? And we'll get Jason and Sarah back in. They're coming back in now. Please let us know that you can see and hear us. That'll be great help. And it takes them about 10 seconds to come in. There's a slight delay. Okay, sound went off for a minute, but I think we're back. That's good. I think it might have been the transition when Sarah and Jason were coming in. Okay, here they come. Welcome back, guys. All right, here they are. Hello again.
Hello. We're back.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. So, brilliant. Everyone's saying that they can still see and hear us. So
Okay.
hopefully you heard what I was talking about.
We did.
Yeah.
Good.
We just, for some reason, we lost connection there for a moment.
Yeah, maybe it was me ranting. Anyway, so everyone, these guys, they're also part of our private group, where Emmanuel, Ezekiel, and myself help out a small amount of individuals, and these guys are probably up there with the top 2% of the stars doing what they should be doing and taking action. So I'm going to hand over to them now. And Sarah, if you can introduce, when we met, well, we met a long time ago, but property-wise, and then if you can, just tell us what your journey has been, the good, the bad, the ugly, the down days, the good days, the happy days, joint venture partners, and who you've ended up with, that fine-looking fellow next to you. The floor is yours. Go.
Yeah, okay. So really, obviously we've known each other for a long time. I think when you came back from Australia and I came back from living overseas, and I remember the first time we went out for a drink, it was to celebrate my birthday, and you told me about the property things that you were doing, and it kind of went in one ear and straight out the other. And it wasn't until about, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years later that we sort of had the same sort of conversation, and you told me what you were doing, and it actually, it kind of registered that actually I want a piece of that. I want to know more. I think at the time I obviously wasn't ready. And when I met you that second time, I was. So that's when, we spoke some more. I started to come to some of your rent-to-rent courses that you were teaching. You taught me so much about the rent-to-rent and just really all other strategies that were available out there. And as you say, it is quite mind-blowing really to know where to start, because it's very overwhelming. You want to just do everything possible, but you end up trying to chase every strategy and getting nowhere. So I focused on the rent-to-rent, moved back to Norfolk, and that's where I sort of started to do my rent-to-rents. Norfolk is actually quite a difficult place for that. They're very sceptical. Anything not a straightforward rent or a straightforward purchase, they're very sort of I don't know if I like that. And so I was out visiting the agents, and they're all looking at me sideways, and yeah, I think it was, I managed to find my first rent-to-rent deal, and it was actually an agent that was showing me a property, and she dropped the name of this landlord that she said, oh no, you don't want to work with him, he's really difficult. And so I jotted the name down, and I Googled him, and I found his details, and I phoned him up direct. So he obviously wanted to know where I found his details, and and it went from there. So it took probably took about 3 or 4 months to get that one signed up, as you well know, because you were there helping me along the way on that one. He was a very difficult man to sort of please.
Was that Dino?
Sorry?
Was that Dino?
That's Dean, yeah.
Yeah, Dean, yeah. I remember.
But I don't hear anything from him now. He gets his money every month. He's happy, and that's all that counts, really.
Yeah. So
that was a 6-bedroom property. It was already kitted out with everything he needed, because he had previously rented it out to students. So it was, all the fire regs and everything was up to spec. So I just needed to change some of the furniture, make it look a little bit, you know, more attractive to professional tenants. It then took another 6 months to find the next rent to rent. And I think about 2 months after that, the third one came along. So, yeah, it was a bit of a struggle. And, but I got there. I got there, and I kept at the 3 simply because I couldn't sort of get any more, couldn't find any more. Nothing else seemed to work, or they just weren't really interested in the strategy. So I carried on with those and working at the same time. I think I got to the stage where I thought, okay, I'm going to hand over my full-time job to somebody else. So I had somebody else doing that for me, and then started focusing on networking, going to some events and looking to see what else was out there other than rent to rent. So the rent to rent allowed me to sort of stop the work and focus on other things, which is then where I met Jason at another sort of networking event. He got up, and it was actually a chap doing a talk on JCT contracts, and Jason, being the builder that he is, you know, stood up and said his little bit, gave his opinion, and I thought that's a
basically how so he could stick his JCT contracts up his arse.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
Accent, and went over to speak to him afterwards, and had a look at what he was up to. He brought his plans for his project that he was currently working on, and arranged to go and visit him on site, you know, the next week. And that's where our sort of partnership sort of began, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I sort of followed Jason, what he was doing, and would visit him regularly, and actually then invested in the project. And from there, we then sort of set up Daylight Developments, and have been moving forward with that.
So what's the name of your company you've got set up now? Daylight Developments?
Daylight Developments Limited, yes.
And I think you've got a Facebook page as well, haven't you, under the same name?
We have now got a Facebook page, yes. We are actually promoting on LinkedIn. Well, you know, we're sort of trying to get out there on LinkedIn as well, but it's sort of more under our own names at the moment. But yeah. Excuse me.
And there's examples of the project that you're doing right now, isn't there?
Sorry?
There are examples on that Facebook page that you have at the moment.
Yes, we've got pictures of projects that we finished, and also sort of pictures of our current project that we're working on. Fantastic.
So just on the rent to rent, I think the first one, what was the profit on there? 800, 850, 890?
No, I think it was about 800. Initially it was 850, but the bills seemed to be quite high, so it worked out more at about 800.
Yeah, and then the other two, similar price?
The other two was similar. They're more sort of around 750.
Yeah. Okay, great. So minimal upfront because they were kitted out anyway, so that was good.
Yeah, one of them we had to sort of completely refurnish because it just had a lot of really old furniture in there. So I've actually got that in storage at the moment. I've kept it. I haven't launched anything there. But yeah, it was.
With the other bits of rent to rent, you've obviously got 2 service accommodation apartments as well in Norwich, who's pretty much run by someone else. So you don't actually work in the business; you work on the business.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, great. Yeah. And with the money that you got from rent to rent, I guess that's where you've now gone into development.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that money kind of keeps us going. We've also used some of that to invest in service accommodations.
Yep.
Yeah.
And with Jason being the builder, so you would have found it very hard, I guess, to go out on your own and be able to get developer finance and that type of thing without that experience of a builder by your side. Is that how it happened?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think the fact that Jason's been building, you know, for 30 years, he's been project managing for big companies like, you know, Bovis Homes, Persimmon, you know, that really stood us in good stead. I mean, obviously, from my perspective, or from my point of view, you know, I've got more of the sort of business background, but Jason's got very much the hands-on experience, you know, the on-site experience.
A good match. So
yeah,
what we'll do is we'll go through your project. So I'm going to share my screen again, and I'll share the PowerPoint because people are asking for numbers, so we can share some numbers on there now. So if you can see the screen, just let me know. We've got Churchill Road that's come up first. Are you there, Sarah? Okay. It would appear that I mute them when I put the screen on. Can you guys hear me now, Sarah and Jason? Or perhaps we need to stop sharing. Jason and Sarah, can you hear me still? Okay. So what we'll do is I'll show you the numbers and then we'll get Jason and Sarah back in, and then they can tell you about the actual numbers. So these are all in Norfolk, and the first one, as you can see, is Churchill Road, and there's about 5 projects. So I know the projects, so I can run through them, but Jason and Sarah will come back on once we've finished this. There just seems to be some technical glitch here. So the GDV, the gross development value, is the end value. That is what you expect to sell everything for. So that is £555,000. Not bad. The purchase price, as you can see, is £140,000, and then the costs come out at £330,000, and they have a profit of £85,000. Now, I know that the initial profit was a lot more than that, but then the councils turned around and they wanted stuff like solar panels, and I mean, that's another 12 grand and a few other things. So Sarah and Jason can tell you about, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I know that they had a lot more profit in that, but not bad for their first deal together. And as you can see here, a pretty good job that they've done. So it's basically a new build on the end there. It extends right out to the back, and I think from memory there's 3 or 4 flats there. And initially they were going to keep them, but they decided to sell them off and finance more. You can see inside it's a nice finish. I know that the properties were let out pretty quick when they were looking at letting out, but I'll tell you exactly why and why not. But this is in Norwich city centre, so nice and close in the Golden Triangle. We then look at another project. Now, this is when we get into the multi-million-pound project. So I didn't want to disappoint anyone and make it a collective multi-million-pound. So this is Crown House. Again, the GDV is massive. Now, the GDV as a developer, it doesn't matter to me that much. The actual profit is what matters to me. Then we have the purchase price of 700K, and then the cost 1.76225 million. So you can see that the profits now, obviously there's a lot of costs that we're not showing here that are involved. Jason and Sarah use a spreadsheet that myself and Emmanuel, well, mostly Emmanuel put together. Emmanuel's been developing now for 30 years. Put that together and they use it religiously. And this is why they're making money. So that's another one, Crown House. Nelson House, another one, GDV, £1 million. Again, the profit is awesome on this one. I mean, look at 40% profit. That is huge. Banks, they want a minimum of 25% before you start dealing with them. So there's a bit of a tip for you there. That's what it looks like, you know, when they purchase it. So a lot of people would look at this and they say to themselves, what the hell can I do with that? But because these guys are so prolific in learning and using other people's knowledge and education and experience, they then have a project that's going to look like this. And that's £400,000 on this project, which is a commercial to resi. So we're covering pretty much most of the development type of strategies here. You can see there's not just one strategy that they've learned. There's one rent to rent, service accommodation. We've got commercial to resi. We've got new build flats, if you like. And then another one here, a bungalow. So it's small residential, 320,000 GDV, 165 purchase, costs 80 grand, 75 grand on a bungalow. Now that's great money. You know, I remember some time back, people were happy to make 20 grand off a bloody bungalow. And if they were thinking they were making 20 grand, you know, something kicked them in the butt. It took 6 months longer to sell or whatever it was. And they were down to 10, 12 grand profit. And amongst other things that come up, you know, little engineering things or works things, you've got to allow for these. And what people were looking at, they were looking at making 20 grand, but they weren't allowing any contingency whatsoever. You know, the minimum, absolute minimum is 10%. But you're going to need, you know, in most cases, probably 15. And that's the bungalow there. You can see up the top, looked a bit shabby. That's exactly what we like. You can see that there's an extension on there. The shed has gone. They've got, this is one with the garden cleared, obviously with the landscape after that. So what I'll do now is, and here's, sorry, one more. Quay Living. It's obviously a coastal side town. If they want to share with you where these places are, they can. But we're looking at 1.4 million, and the profit, the essential one, £395,000. Awesome. So let's get them back. Let's get them back here now. So Jason and Sarah, if you can connect back in. I'm sorry about this. There seems to be some thing in here that we share the screen and we can't get you back in. Well done. There you go. So please fire away any questions that you have for Jason and Sarah based on either, you know, their transition from rent to rent. Well, Sarah's transition from rent to rent, what they're doing in service accommodation and why, and how it actually, you know, that how their short game actually keeps their heads above water and pays them, while they can go out and be, you know, professional property developers, because they are professional property developers because they're making money from it. Welcome back.
Hi.
So I'm hoping you heard all of that.
Yes.
And you saw the slide deck?
We didn't see the slide, but we heard it.
Okay, great. So we were talking about some numbers there. There seems to be some glitch when I put you guys on and the screen share and it disappears or whatever. So I have shared those numbers and what have you.
Okay.
Brilliant.
So there are deals in there. I think I was talking about your the one where you made the 85 grand, but I think it was a lot more than that. But from memory, it's because the council came forward and said, look, we want some environmental stuff like solar panels and that type of thing, if I remember rightly. But if you can set the record straight, I just want everyone to understand, you know, it's not all super plain sailing.
No, I think, well, with that one, that was actually the Norwich one that my first rent to rent Dino brought to us. He owned that site. Yeah, so, you know, you never know where these deals are going to come from. You know, whether it's a landlord that you know, whether it's an agent, an architect, they could come from all over the place. So this one was from the landlord, so it was direct from, you know, vendor. And initially he wanted, he actually suggested we do a delayed completion, didn't he? He said, you get on with it and you can pay me when you're finished. We're like, brilliant, you know, don't have to pay anything. But then we found out once we started that we had to pile the site, didn't we?
Yeah.
So that was pretty much a huge chunk of our contingency gone.
Now I know what piling is.
So in the early days,
I know what piling is, but if you can just do a quick 30-second explanation on why it needed and what it is.
Okay.
Okay. So the actual site itself, the ground conditions were very poor. They were built up layers over years, and in that particular area, there had been lots of old chalk minings, which had, you know, developed like somewhat of a sinkhole in places in that area. So the council knew when we applied for the permission and everything that the ground conditions were very poor. Subsequently, we had to have test holes dug on the site to determine just what the conditions were, which brought up, you know, a somewhat negative report. So it led us to one form. We couldn't use a conventional strip foundation because the ground conditions wouldn't support that. So we had to actually drill down with a piling rig till we hit solid, you know, bottom, and then fill that up with concrete and reinforced steel. So that was actually a pile. And then you put a reinforced concrete ring beam on top of the piles, which acts as your foundations.
And how much did that add to the cost, just the piling?
30,000.
Yeah, well, so we originally had an estimated cost of 12 to 18,000.
Yeah.
And the guy said it would be more like 18,000. But because of the conditions were bad, they had to go a lot deeper. They had to put additional piles in to bring it up to regulation so it would comply. We actually ended up spending 30,000.
So an additional 18,000 on your original estimates.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And then from there, I know other things popped up.
Yeah, sill popped up. We were under the impression that the sill had already been paid by the vendor. So that was an additional 15,000 that we had to pay.
Yeah.
We also had to get all of the
Conditions discharged.
All the conditions discharged. We had to have all our building regs plans done because we had to have everything changed because the plans that he had done weren't compliant. So we had to move staircases around and do all kinds of things like that. So it's all things that cost me 1,000 here, a couple of hundred there. It just adds up.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was a massive learning curve for us. You know, I've learned all about piling. I've learned, you know, so much stuff from that project that's you know, going to stand me in good stead going forward.
And then the final thing they hit you with, I believe, was the solar panels. Is that the same project?
Yeah. Well, any new build now has to have a certain amount of renewables, and so we had to put some solar panels on the roof.
And what sort of criteria did you need to meet for that? And what was the process? Did they do inspections? They come back, they monitors or whatever it is?
So originally what kicked this off, Ash, was originally we were going to have gas combination boilers.
Yeah.
But we were quoted silly money to put 4 gas connections onto the site because where the road in front, we thought the gas would run in the pathway, but it actually ran across the other side of the road in the other pathway. So, yeah. So they quoted us in the region of about 30 grand to put the gas connections on.
Yeah.
So that would have been a real sort of game changer for us. So we then went back to our architect and said, look, you know, we can't do that. What's our options? We took some advice, spoke to our plumbing and heating engineer, and between sort of 3 or 4 of us, we came up with the way that we would put the new slimline electric boilers in. Well, obviously, the slimline electric boilers bring a different SAP rating up to your finished article than what a gas boiler is.
Yeah.
So our rating didn't quite meet the required finished rating on the property. So therefore, we had to put the solar panels on top as well to take us over our minimum rating, so that we were in excess of that, and we could basically get our completion certificate on the development.
Brilliant. And you still made money?
And we still made money, yes.
Fantastic. So you got paid not only to do a development, but to learn so much more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that's enabled you to have the confidence, right? We learned a lot. It's not that you messed up, it's just that these surprises kicked up, and they do in every single development. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you develop, you know, 1,000 flats a year. And I know people who, I know you guys know, you've met Neville, who build 600-700 houses a year. Said every single one there's always something that comes up, no matter what, and they expect it, and that's why you have to allow the contingencies.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now tell us a bit about this commercial to resi, and I'm just curious of time. Yeah, we can do a couple more. Tell me about your commercial to resi, then we'll talk about another one, and then people are asking, where do you get your funding? Who do you go to? Who do you come from? What happens, etc. So people are interested about your funding, liquidity, and that type of thing. Okay. So let's just run through. Is it Nelson House? Is that the one? Your commercial to resi?
Our current project, yeah.
Yeah. Just run through how you found it, who sent it to you, or whatever. How you got those connections. So everyone, as if we're all 12-year-olds, tell us how to do it.
So Nelson House was a former office block, which was right on the quay overlooking the river in Great Yarmouth.
Yep.
I found it because I live in Great Yarmouth, and that had a sold sign outside it. And the sold sign up was for about 8 months. And in the end, I phoned the agent. I said, that building you've got on the quay, you've got the sold sign on. Is it sold? And they said, actually, the people that are supposed to be buying it are mucking us about somewhat. Give me an hour. I'll see if I can get in touch with the owners and see if they're quite happy for us to show anybody else round. Which consequently, Sarah and I went and had a look at the building, saw straight away that it would lend itself to commercial to residential conversions. I've done quite a lot of this before, Ash, with other people, done projects in London, I could start on this one for people that haven't, in as much where I identified the building and thought that had potential. And that's it, really. We then spoke to the local planners. He said, oh, yeah, you'll get that under PD. That'll just be £80 to apply for your permitted development, stuff like that. So we agreed with the vendors that we would buy that subject to planning.
Sorry, Jason, we've got to, obviously, as people on here who are beginners and don't understand permitted development, can you tell everyone why that was good for you?
Okay. Go on, Sarah.
So permitted development is also sort of known as prior notification. So basically, you can change the use of a commercial classification B1, so office building, into residential without having to go to full planning permission. So, I mean, it is a form of planning, but it's not the full-blown planning that you normally have to apply for. So it's one application, and it normally goes through quite quick, and you don't have to. We just sent in plans for our layouts for the internals because we weren't going to change anything on the externals at that point. We just wanted to, to get that notification come through to say yes, you can do what you want to do. So, and
in monetary sense,
it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Ash, we had a little draw up with an architect, and he said, "Look, we'll get you 9 apartments in there." So we would have had to, pay 9 lots of about 385 grand. So it would have been about £3,500 just for a planning application.
Yeah,
but with the PD, it was just a one-off payment of £80.
Awesome. So that's massive savings. So if everyone understands what permitted development is now and knows the benefits of it,
yeah,
fantastic. Thank you.
So having them received our notification to say yes, we can go ahead, we then put a second full planning application in to put 2 penthouses on the top and to change the exterior. And move the staircase from the inside to the outside, which then allowed us to make the apartment slightly bigger still. So we should, I mean, that sort of dragged on a little bit, but we should this week, I spoke to the planners this morning, we should get a notification this week. So it looks like, it's all looking very positive, which means our profit of 402,000 will be bumped up by about another 75 to
100,
or even to £100,000.
And that's spending what? couple of grand in planning. Not even that.
Not even that, because we've only had to put planning in for the 2 on the top.
Yeah.
Rather than delivering.
Well done. Awesome. So again, you've just given people tips on how to add 100 grand to a building you're already going to make 400 on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've already reserved 3 of those, and we've had because we've got a sign outside saying, you know, apartments coming soon, and we've had investors go to the agents to show interest. So once we actually get our full planning application decision through this week, we can then physically start marketing on Rightmove with the agents. But one of those investors has actually found our Facebook page, Daylight Development's Facebook page, and just emailed me directly to say he's interested in taking 2 apartments. How soon can he come and have a look? So
what a shame.
Great. So by the time we're finished, we'll have them all sold.
And again, you've given everyone, people might miss these little tricks and tips and lessons you're giving them, but if you're going to do development, get yourself a Facebook page. They're free to set up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Get yourself a nice painted hoarding outside your development and put some cracking signs up there. Luxury apartments coming soon.
And we've got a big sign with our logo on it as well. So that's how he found our Facebook page, and he's come directly to us, which is great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not, see, a lot of people think development is just about, oh, let's go and find a bungalow and add a one at the back or whatever, but it's also it's a business that you're running. And the good thing about when you run a rent-to-rent business, and because you guys are already business owners, so you know how to run a business, so you understand that there is this little thing called marketing as well, which needs to be done. And that's the same thing for rent-to-rent HMOs, rent-to-rent service accommodation, any business that you want to start. And to be honest, development is a business, and you need to treat it as a business, because if you don't, you'll sink pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
yes. So Nelson, tell us more about Nelson.
Lord Nelson.
So, Ash, could we go back to a little bungalow one quickly?
Yeah. What's somebody's asking, what's the build time, the whole project time for Nelson?
6 months.
That's amazing. 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months.
On the top, once we get planning come through, the 2 on the top, we're considering doing modular, so they'll be fabricated off-site, and they will literally just be kind of craned in and popped on the top and
connected up,
and just connected up. So, you know, that saves us so much time. We can just focus on the rest of the building.
They're looking close to, let's say, round figures, £500,000 that from woe to go, 12 months, including planning, finding it, getting it set up, getting it sold, 12 months, £500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even if you went to 18 months because it took a bit longer to sell, I don't know, you're still on £500,000, maybe 470, 480 because you got payments for it taking a bit longer, but you're still making a ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Anyone interested in that? Few people, yeah. Boards lining up. Fucking hell, yeah. Me too. And I know that if people do want to get involved with you, they can. So if you want to just talk about your funding and that type of thing right now, that'll be great. And then we'll go on to the bungalow.
Yeah, of course. Well,
let's talk about developer finance. Let's talk about, roll-ups at the end or payments per month, and just explain that to people, and it will help them out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we had for Churchill Road, the one in Norwich, we had a mixture of developers finance and a private investor that lent us. In fact, we had two private investors. And
we had our own money, some of our own money.
And a little bit of our own money, yeah. We didn't, yeah. So we had one guy lent us some money, and we already had Nelson House kind of bubbling, and he was happy for us to use the money where we wanted to. And as a return, he said, instead of giving me a percentage or, a share of the profit, I'll take an apartment when they're finished. So to start with, we thought, I don't know if we want to give that much away. But, you know, when you start and you're not in the position to be picky and choosy, we went along with it. So,
and in monetary sense, actually, it was about 20K we gave him back on his money.
So he got, so if he gave you 100, he got 120 back, just to make it clear for people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was what, 4 months?
But he didn't want the 120 back. He just wanted an apartment worth 120 in exchange.
So he's going to get capital growth on that while he's got it, and he's also going to get income on that while he's got it.
Yeah.
Freaking good deal. I'll take those. Anyone else want that deal?
Yes, he's already asking us what else we've got lined up. So, and he knows other people as well that might be interested in, you know, doing something with us. So, you know,
fantastic.
With the funding, we had a broker, or we have a broker that we use. She's absolutely fantastic. She's, you know, they're working with over 50 lenders. But again, it's because that was our first project. We were limited to who would lend to us, and obviously, you know, it was actually like a hybrid product that they gave us, wasn't it? It was a certain amount they gave us towards the purchase, and then a certain amount towards the actual the project itself, the construction costs. So obviously we had a little bit of a void there because they're never going to give you 100% of the money. Yeah. So that's why we had some private investors lend us some money.
Brilliant.
And the same with Nelson House now. We've got a fantastic deal with that one, with the same broker.
So the initial investor, he got his money all back after 6 months?
Yes.
Yes, after 6 months, yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you made money, money was given to you, you paid it back in 6 months. So how was that money secured? Was it secured in any way? People are asking, was it secured?
Drawn up with a solicitor.
Okay, great. And
so we both give personal guarantees.
Yeah, yeah. And did you put any of these projects gone into SPVs and shareholder agreements or anything like that?
They're all in SPVs, yeah.
Okay.
Every project we do, we'll set up in a separate SPV.
If you could just do a 2-minute explanation on what an SPV is, that will help people. I can tell them, but they won't believe me.
Okay. Well, an SPV is a special purpose vehicle. It's basically a limited company that you buy your projects within. It just kind of safeguards anything else that you've got going on, any other projects, rather than buying everything within one company. Each project is its own, you know, own company.
Yeah, and you can issue A class and B class shares, so that the investor will get the B class shares and they get paid out first, so that yours get paid out last. So what I'm saying is, if anyone does invest in you, they know from having a shareholders agreement, have B class shares in an SPV, that they will always get paid out first, whether you make money or not. But if the project makes a 20 grand loss, it comes out of your cut. The investor still gets back the original promise, if you like, the original deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But that won't happen because we do our due diligence and make sure there's always plenty of money, even you know, with a contingency in place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but the point is, no matter what happens, the investor gets their money first, and they always get to agree. Yeah,
absolutely.
Good, fantastic. So keep the questions coming, guys. Now, Jason, you wanted to talk about the bungalow.
Yeah, just quickly about the bungalow, and you know, and to do with the funding on that. So I'd sold a little Victorian terrace property before the bungalow in Great Yarmouth, and I made about 20 grand profit on that. And I thought, well, this is nice. So I sent a few letters round, went and saw agents, introduced myself to agents, and consequently got offered this bungalow in a nice little village north of Great Yarmouth, detached 2-bed bungalow in a great plot size. So I knew there was loads of avenue for improvement to make it, you know, basically what we did, made it as twice as big. What we did, we added a big kitchen diner on, another bedroom with an ensuite, redone the 2 bedrooms, the lounge, and basically rewired the whole lot. New central heating system, everything in there. But when I bought that, I agreed to buy that for 165,000, and I had you know, a little bit of my own money lined up, and I had about the 80,000 put aside to do the developments, and another 20 grand contingency, and I borrowed. I put the deposit down and arranged through our broker to borrow the money to buy the bungalow, and consequently that all went through. And the day that I went to complete and sign all the paperwork, they said, "Oh, you do realise that you're going to be £48,000 short." And I went, "Why?" And they said, "Well, because we deduct the interest. So you're going to have to put £48,000 of your own money into the purchase." So I thought, fucking hell, you know, I was stunned. And that was the thing, it's not having done it before.
Yep.
And not really people sort of explain and sit down and do. So I lucky I had sort of like 100 grand behind me. So I put the 48,000 out that. But as you can see, that totally wiped out half of my development money.
Mm.
And so that was when, you know, Sarah, you know, really sort of came to the rescue, and we talked about, didn't we? And Sarah invested some money, you know, in the project. And, you know, I'd been speaking to a couple of other people, and, you know, they were very keen to help me and invest with me. But, you know, I think, you know, if you can work with someone, I think it's the thing of getting to know people and like people, Ash. And it's
100%.
not just, you know, you've got to be able to work together with people, because in the construction industry, in building and development, there's always going to be problems that you have to come across.
Yep.
So you want to work with people that recognise that and are going to be okay with that.
Yeah, very good point, and pretty much echoes exactly what I said at the start. You know, you can't go into doing commercial resi and doing all this on your own, and, you know, straight after a bloody 2-day course or whatever, or a 10-day course even. You need to have somebody there by your side, and this is why your partnership works well. You know, Sarah knows what she knows, you know what you know, and together you're a fantastic team. And that's why you've got people investing in you. You know, they know that their money is, you know, it's secure. They know that you do your due diligence. You've got a whole process and system and how you look at deals, and that's why you're making money all day, every day.
And that's why we walk away probably from, you know, 10 to a dozen deals before we actually find one that we like and we think there's some merit going forward.
We kiss a lot of frogs in this industry.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's very easy to get very excited about a project when somebody brings you something and think, oh, that's great. And then you sit down and actually do the numbers and think, it just doesn't add up. You know, it's going to cost us money to do that. So, you know, it's just, you've got to be able to walk away.
Yeah.
And so to start with, that's difficult, you know, because it's very tempting just to do a deal just because you want to do your first deal.
And that's the same in rent to rent. It's the same in any property strategy. And
absolutely.
People do that, they get stuck, and then they never want to do anything ever again, because either it wasn't what they expected, or they didn't make the money they wanted or they expected, etc., etc. And people just get a bit down, you know, get a bit downtrodden. So if you know what it's going to be like when you first go into the business, then you know what to expect. You know it's not going to be super easy. You know, we teach development and stuff with a manual. And you guys know that, you know, we've been helping you along with other people in your journey as well. And we never, ever stand up in front of anyone and say, this is a piece of cake. You can make money hand over fist. You make money while you're sleeping. It's bollocks. You got to work at it. But the rewards are huge. They are massive if you get it right. Or should I say, when you get it right, they are massive. And, you know, starting out, and I make no no secret of it. I'm extremely proud of Sarah, and I'm extremely proud of Jason and what you've done. If I'd have put Sarah on this webinar 2.5 years ago, when she first... You
wouldn't have got me on this webinar 2.5 years ago.
Was it about 2.5 years ago?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have even known what freaking PD is, or SPV, or any of these acronyms, and I remember the day we sat down and you were overwhelmed, and it's like, fuck, I don't know what to do. And you just have to keep cracking and going for it and doing it. And I'm so proud. Yeah, I'm so proud that you never gave up, because it's so easy to give up. And now you're working on multi-million-pound deals with Jason. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, very soon, you know, however these deals take, you'll have £1 million worth of equity sitting somewhere. Net equity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so I think what we're also now doing is with these, you know, we want to be able to do multiple projects at the same time. So I know it's very difficult for Jason to do this because he's always been very hands-on, but he's now sort of coming around to the idea of, you know, outsourcing to a main contractor so that we can have main contractors on various jobs and we can be out there looking for new projects and multiple things going on at the same time, rather than trying to do everything, because you limit yourself. If you're going to do everything yourself, you can only work on one project, and you've got to wait for that sort of 6, 8, 12 months, and then you can start your next one. Whereas, you know, going forwards now, it's going to be very different.
That's exactly right. And I'll tell you what, Janie's just put up here an interesting comment. This is all great information, but way over my head, because obviously we're talking about the service accommodation. We're going to talk about this afterwards, but this is more about the journey to get you to where you are now. And the fact that somebody's saying this is way over my head, and I accept that, it may be over your head, but if you listen to Sarah right now, 2.5 years ago, this wasn't anywhere near her head, let alone over it. It was like left field on another planet. And now she's doing what we're trying to show you is what you can do, what is possible if you stick to it. And then here we've got Nick is asking, after all these joint developments, would Sarah know enough to do a development on her own? Well, I'll just answer something before you answer. So in my position, I would never, ever do a development on my own. And I know that Emmanuel Ezekiel, you know, my business partner, £50 million portfolio, he would never, ever do anything on his own either, because you need someone there to work with that you can bounce things off. And if you were listening to Jason, you know, about the 40-odd grand surprise interest, that he sat down with Sarah and they spoke about it. They worked out a deal together. Sarah put some money in. So my question is, why would Sarah want to do a deal on her own? But I'll let Sarah answer that now.
Well, yeah, no, I think it's right. Like you say, you know, it's always good to work in a partnership because you've got somebody to talk things through. You can bounce off each other. There's always questions. There's, you know, you're going to have things that come up where you think, well, what do I do in this situation? And when you've got a business partner there to talk to, it just makes life so much easier. It's quite stressful being a property developer. So to be one on your own, I don't think I'd want to do that.
No, I agree. And you know, we're meeting up again on Friday with the private group that we run, and I know that we all have our one-to-ones around the table. Everyone's at different levels, but everyone all agrees, you know, unless you get off your ass a bit of Goya, nothing's going to happen. And you know, if you want to go and watch the bloody football game, you're going to have to get off your ass and go to Wembley and watch England play Brazil or whatever it was. It's gone, isn't it? But you know, anything you do in life, you've got to get off your ass. So you may as well make it meaningful and thank yourself later in life for having done that. You know, sitting there watching webinars like this and doing, you know, fuck all with it will get you nowhere. You would have wasted yourself an hour and a half. So please, I just ask people, you know, do what Sarah's done, do what Jason's done. Don't give up, keep doing it. And, you know, you yourself, if that's what you want to do, can be on multi-million-pound deals. Good.
I think another thing actually with working with somebody like Jason and I working together, it's very easy to become quite complacent about things and you kind of slip into old habits or everything you just take things for granted. And it's good to be able to give each other a bit of a kick up the backside every now and again, you know, and we do that. And, you know, we've done this just recently, and it's kind of, you kind of refocus and you think, well, where do we want to be in a year's time? Where do we want to be in 2-3 years time? And you set your goals again and you refocus and you go out and, you know, we're now sort of starting networking again and you're just doing things that we should have been doing all along, but you kind of slip out of the habit of doing them. Whether you're doing rent to rent, service accommodation, development, it doesn't matter. You have to keep, as you say, get off your ass and do things. Talk to people. That's how you meet people and things happen.
And that's exactly what you're doing now. You're networking, believe it or not, over the good old internet with loads of people on here asking you questions. So it's great. Listen, I've got to kick on. Tell people are saying, you know, I want to know more about service accommodation and this type of stuff as well. So I've got to kick on to that. Everyone's also saying thank you guys very much. Awesome information. Thank you for the inspiration. All sorts of messages are coming through, and I especially thank you both as well. Like I say, very proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing, and you're just going to be, you know, you're going to be living a high life. We already are, but you're going to be living a high life. So well done from me, and I'll see you guys Friday for another one-to-one session with me and Emmanuel.
Great. Thanks, Ash.
Thanks, Ash.
See you Friday.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so back to me. Hello, everyone. Now, let's get back to how they started. So I'm going to share my screen. Now, let's hope that this continues to work. So please let me know that you can see it. Now that they've gone, we can hopefully this will work and we'll get back into this. So, okay, so a lot of people actually, funny enough, have been, how can I do the same? So please just put in there, yes, I can see and hear you. That'll be great. So how can you do the same? So number one, you know, there's some people on here saying this is fantastic information. It's over my head. This is really technical stuff. To be fair with you, it's not technical stuff, and it's not. And the reason it's over your head is because you don't know what you don't know. Once you are educated and you do know, then you can go on to do this stuff. Now, I appreciate that, you know, this is on the back of Rent to Rent, and I just wanted to show you what you can do if you want to do it. If you're really serious about property and the property business, this is what you can do. And, you know, Sarah now would wake up in the morning going, you know, this is my life. This is what I do. It's what I've been wanting to do for 2.5 years now. And she's doing it. And you can see the chemistry that these guys have in their business relationship. That they just fire stuff off each other. And it's fantastic. And, you know, part of what we do on our courses, and a lot of you, I'll publish it now, a lot of you are asking about the cash flow course. So I'll just put that up there so you don't keep asking. And the next course is November 25th, and then the final one for the year is December 16th. So sorry. So you can do the same, but you've got to start somewhere. Now, if you have very little, or even none of your own money, it might be that you have bad credit. But, you know, the bad credits come from a circumstance in your life where, you know, things weren't working out. You've come back and you can prove that, you know, you've done the right thing since. Because to have a business partner and a JV partner like these guys do, you're going to have to show that, you know, you're the right person. And like Jason said, you've got to get on with people. And you really do. And we put business partners together all the time. I mean, we do have, I can see that Ian's on here who works with Nigel Moss. Fantastic business partners, and you'll see some of the numbers that come up here. £400,000 in 6 months from service accommodation. Unbelievable numbers. So we talk about opium, and Emmanuel jokes about it and said this is my favorite drug and I'm addicted to it. Basically, you take the O, the P, and the M, other people's money, OPM. So developments that we do, if we were to do a £3-4 million development, we couldn't, you know, we wouldn't want to finance it. We couldn't finance it cash wise. And why would we tie up all that cash? It's like going to buy a car for cash. You don't do it. You know, you want to lease it out because it's a liability. You're going to lose money on it. So why put all that money onto something that's going to lose? You want to put your money into something that's going to win. Now, if you put 3 million into one project, or you put 3 million into 10 projects, and leveraged all of those projects, and yet those 10 projects made you 5 times as much more profit, why wouldn't you spread it out, so to speak? So in Rent to Rent, we use other people's properties, and people are very generous, and we love that. In fact, I have an awesome agent in my area who will send me emails every 2 or 3 days asking me if I like the property, and I've said on the photos, yes, I like it, and I'll see if I can find it so you can see the email. But maybe I get like 1,000 emails, so it might be. Here we go. So okay, so would you like the property on the 27th? Yes, we'll take the property on the 27th. That's a suitable date for us. That was the PA for Matt. And then Matt has then written back, on another note, we have another property coming onto the market in Maltings, 1,400 a month, 2-bed, service apartment, ready and very modern. Perfect and exactly what you look for, because they have photos in their office of exactly what we want and examples of what we want. And because we know our area so well, we say we want that building, we want that building, we want that street, or we want that half of the street and that side of the street. So we're very niche about what we want. And they go out looking for it. They knock on the doors. Would you like to rent your property? These guys are going to take it for 3 years. They keep it in showroom condition. Yes. Why wouldn't I? Some of the people, you know, they may say no up front, but it's not no. It might be no now, but it's not no in the future. It just means that they need a bit more education, and we teach all that, how to deal with agents. So I've got 3 agents in my area that I don't even have to go to see agents anymore, and I will only ever deal with 3. And that's a little tip. We'll tell you all about that on the course. Joint venture partners. You've just seen 2 brilliant examples of that. I have quite a few joint venture partners. One of my joint venture partners in my area on service accommodation. He does all of the work, and I do what I can remotely. So I can continue to work on my businesses, not in my businesses. And I give him 50% of the profits. You think he's happy with that? Absolutely, he's happy with that. Now, this is a guy who went out and tried to do the long game first instead of the short game. Now he has the short game. He's stress-free. He's happy. You know, we've got some other guys that will show you. So rent-to-rent service accommodation. It's a massive, massive, massive business right now. And if this is where it's going, this is where it is right now, but it's come from here. So you've got all this growth over the years, and the hotels are shitting themselves. Hotels are now looking to convert certain properties in certain areas to service accommodation or short let accommodation. They are shitting themselves. We are taking business from them. In fact, our houses, we are number 1. We look at the booking stats on booking.com. Our properties are the most expensive in our area. And I'm talking by about 80 to 100 quid per night. It's a super quick business to set up. You can register a company. I think it's like £13. My wife just registered another company because we also have a children's nursery. So we're quite prolific in the business world as well. This is not the only business that we do, but the reason I do this business, now I've got other businesses where we make, you know, some tidy income. The reason I do service accommodation is because of this. It is so quick to set up. I mean, that 27th, do you want the property? Yeah, I have the 27th. And this is today. So what's that? In 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, I will have another property that will bring me in, and I know this, between 1,500 per month profit and up to 3.5 grand per month in profit over 5 or 6 months at the peak time. And where it is, it's so center that if you looked on the map, you can't see it because it's under center blob on Google Maps. That's how center it is. We called in Ali Conlon. She's going to do and set up all the furniture. I don't even have to be there. Tony will be there. He'll unlock it. In you go, set it up, and they'll be out that day. They'll come in about 9 o'clock. They'll be out by 4 o'clock. Ready. Photographer comes in. Snap, 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 snap. I get it onto the OTAs, or the online travel agents, or you may know it as Booking.com, Airbnb, etc., Expedia, Trivago, TripAdvisor, hotels, all of these. And that's in 2 weeks. I can get it set. I know people have done this in a week. And then from there, fast turnover and fast profit. Now, if you know anything about business, nurseries that we have, sorry, my Alexa's just come on. One moment. Because I think I might have said something that sounded like Alexa. Alexa, off. There we go. The reason I have an Alexa, by the way, is because we have Alexa Echoes, or Amazon Echo, should I say, in our properties, because business people love tech and they love it. They can play their music, they can read out their calendar, what's coming up for the day, all sorts of stuff. So I wasn't going to tell you that, but hey, it led in nicely. So fast turnover, the minute you get a booking, bang, bang, bang. Then you get your profits, and if you've got it set up right, and all you have to do is do exactly what we tell you, you're making 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, up to £3,000 in a lot of cases profit. Now, if you know anything about business, before you pay yourself a dividend, you have to make a profit. Now, our nursery business take about 2 years before we can return a profit. It's a nice profit after that, but that's how long it takes to return a profit. This, you can return a profit within 6 to 8 weeks and pay yourself. It's amazing. We love it. How much can I make? How much do you want to make? That's really the question. If you're happy making £1,000 a month, get one property. But that's an extra £12,000 a year. You're going to get taxed on it quite heavily if you already have a day job as well, because it's a second income. Or you can just, what we did is collate that money in the business and let it recycle within the business, and then it grows the business. So we don't actually take any money out of our service accommodation business at the moment. We let it finance itself. So it keeps rolling. Because I have other income from other bits and property and nurseries and other business that we have, we're letting that build up. And we'll keep letting it build up and build up to a level when we say, right, we're happy with that income. Now we'll start taking some income, or we just keep growing it, and then maybe invest it into properties and build our own apart hotels. We don't have a solid plan for that right now. At the moment, we're just building up the cash pot. So Ian's on here. He's a business partner of Nigel, who you can see in the photo. Now, in 12 months, they got 25 properties. Now, when I say 12 months, because they came to our course in November last year, so it's 12 months. And they didn't get started for 6 months, as you can see there, and it turned over. It's over that figure now, because that's probably 3 or 4 weeks old. Over £400,000 in 6 months, of which there's around about a 30% profit. And they paid off a £50,000 loan in that time. Again, great examples of joint venture partners. Tim Dix, he's now got 6 properties. So I had a text from him on Friday night, and he's now just taken on another one. Actually, he's got that one. Now he's taken on another one in another part of town that he's actually working on a joint venture with. So handed over the keys to the garage today, which is his own business, off to the Waterside Inn in Bray to celebrate. Now that's a Michelin star restaurant. He's probably don't get any change out of 600-700 quid. He wouldn't have been doing this 6 months ago. And you know, he's probably closer to £10,000 a month now in income. Ash wouldn't be there without you. I said, no, always. And he said, I freaking love my work. And this is his work. This is his work, and he loves it. And as you can see, he also flies helicopters in his spare time. He took us over to France for 2 days to say thank you for me, to helping him. And we had a mini retirement, shall we say. These guys, they're on 12 grand a month now. They've got 10, actually it's 11 essays. And these guys are firing up. I've got a one-to-one with them on Tuesday next week. And that one-to-one there was last month at my house. They come up to see me once a month. We have one-to-ones as part of the mentoring program, and just tweak their business a little bit. And we did that last time. We tweaked their business, and they had like 6 properties, I think. So within a month, they've now gone out and got another 4 or 5 properties. But it's just small little tweaks. There's Harvey. Harvey's emigrating to Australia on the 26th of this month. He wanted to build up that income, to have a steady income, a reserve income, while he's setting up over in Australia. Well done, Harvey. Again, that's a one-to-one at my house. Jimmy London, awesome effort. 42 grand. It's probably over that, but 29 properties he now has on rent to rent, £42,000 a month. It's Jimmy on my right, flashing the watch. The other guy is Jazz Real. Again, these guys I mentor them, but Jimmy is he's just gone mad. And that will be 2 years in December. 2 years. So I think I mentioned that some people can make money really quick. This is a mindset that you must have. There's Napa in the middle. Napa just sent me a message to say that he's just welcomed in the birth of his brand new daughter, Eden, and looks fantastic. I won't show the photo because I don't think that's right. But so Napa was homeless and jobless when he first started with us 2 years ago. And that's him sitting in the middle of me and Emmanuel Ezekiel. We're at a big party where we get all the students together. We've got one coming up on December the 7th. So that's the next one if you want to be part of it. Jack Wicks, 14, SAs, HMOs, service accommodation. He's just pumping service accommodation now because the income is so much better. And this is Anna Olsen. She's got 8 properties. She's also pushing service accommodation, but now also working with Emmanuel, my business partner, now working into lease options, because with clause 24, section 24, whatever you want to call it, coming in, and it's already in place, come January, when the landlords have to give their annual figures for their income, we are going to find out that a lot of them are going to hit hard. They're going to get hit so hard. And we have a strategy to help them with their tax issues and that type of thing. So that's what Anna is now moving into. So watch this space. She's actually standing with me and a guy called Neville Wright, who's worth 100 million quid. He started kiddie care and sold kiddie care to Morrison's for 70 million cash. And now he's just added another 30 million to it. He builds about 500-600 houses a year, has about 160 commercial properties. Still going strong. He loves it, won't stop. So as you can see there's photos with me, with these guys, with most of them. And this is Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. And the statement says, sit with winners. The conversation is different. And you saw Napa there, you know, in the middle of me and Emmanuel, because he wants to sit with us because he wants to learn. And, you know, when Emmanuel and I go to certain events, you know, we'll pick out who's the person, right, let's go and sit with them. That's who we want to learn from. We'll sit with them and we'll just suck them dry of all the information and whatever we can get. And then we'll use it to our own abilities. So you must mix with the people that you want to be like. Don't go sitting down at a pub and talking shit and someone talks to shit. Oh, it'll never work, mate. It'll never work. Because it will never work if you listen to that shit. So what makes all these people successful? Is it the skills, or is it the attributes, or is it the skills and the attributes? Skills are something that you can learn. Attributes are something you can learn as well, but it's about, you know, being motivated is an attribute, being kind, being tenacious, being driven. You know, all those things really are what all of us, we do have inside us. We've just got to awaken it sometimes. So the skills, believe it or not, are probably the easiest thing to learn, because you can sit down in a course with me for a day, you know all about service accommodation, but I can't make you use that attribute to go out and get off your ass. Although on the private group, I do have a go every now and then to make sure that you are out there doing something, because I want you to be accountable, because it's your future that you're playing with, not mine. So framework, it's simple, very simple. You have to look at your area. Now, if you listen to what I said about my area, there's certain streets, there's certain end of the street, there's certain side of the street, certain houses in that street that I will only look at. Whereas amateurs will go out there, oh yes, I will have that, I will have that, and I will have that. And then they say 6 months down the track, I'm not really making any money here. You have to be so picky on what you pick, where you pick, the distance from the town, the distance from tourist spots, the distance from business spots, whatever it might be. And we have a system of processing all of that. You have to book your viewings. You have to get to know agents really well. And you only need 3. You know, visit 6. If 3 say no, we don't work with you, 3 do, Work on those 3. Work them to death, because they're going to be your money. They're going to be your bank. They're going to be the charity that hands you out money. But, you know, properties, and it's going to give you so much income. And with those same guys, you've got to go and you've got to conduct viewings with them. So you may as well get to know them and be friendly with them, because you got to spend some time with them. You know, these guys, they'll send me messages. Hey, do you want this? Hey, do you want to? Oh, it's my PA. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do this. Yeah, fine, man. You know, I've got agents who will make offers on my behalf. Absolutely, they will make offers on my behalf because they know exactly what my criteria is. All I have to do is sign it off, or I get Tony or Alan or some other business partner to go down there, and then they view it and they go, it's perfect. No worries, just take me a quick video, show me the key spots, and I'm looking for, is that a W? I'm looking for the wow factor. Remember that, the wow factor, because the wow factor will provide the experience. And the experience is what will get good reviews and get people coming back. Remember those. And then we present offers, and we have a certain way of doing it. There's a whole process. It's not just, yeah, I'll give you 1,200, but it's 1,300. Ain't going to work. You're going to get done every time. So we have a process of doing that. We signed an agreement for 3 years, up to 5 years. We will refresh the property if we need. Very rarely do we do any refocus, not our property, but we'll refresh. So if we need a bit of paint or something like that, we'll do that. And then we fill it with guests. You know, we tenure it. So your gold mine area, this is what you must have. You must have events in your area or tourist attractions that are consistently happening throughout the year, not just summer, because you need to fill it up all out the year. This will reduce your low season and that type of thing. Keep your rates up. Center of town or city, you know, you need somewhere where there's plenty of attractions, and it's going to be big town or city, and you need plenty of place, you know, plenty of guests available who will be coming to that area and visit that area. And there's due diligence that you can do, and what we show you and how we teach you, that you will know that within minutes. Suitable supply of properties, obviously businesses nearby. 2 to 3 beds do work best, plus 1 bed's in London. 1 bed's other sort of niche places as well. And you can also do HMOs and rent them by the room, but you have to turn them into C1s, not a C4. Turn it into C1 if you're renting it by the room. Just remember that. So we'll take on new properties, brand new apartments, that type of thing, or fully refurbed period properties. And, you know, 3 beds in those, they work really well. If you get a JV partner, in other words, will you want to invest? You can invest anywhere, so you don't have to be, you know, close to your area. But you need to understand, you need to know exactly what you're doing, obviously, with service accommodation before you become a joint venture partner. We provide you with all the management agreements. We provide you with like 30 different documents, of which 6 of them have to be done by a solicitor. 6 or 7, 6, let's call it 6. And Nino is actually, I had my documents written by another solicitor, but Nino is actually now in our group, and he is also a solicitor, property solicitor. He's also an investor, and he's also a rent-to-rent guy. So I've got him to look over it, made a couple of changes, and that's what you get. All included, obviously. Some of the sites that we use, OTAs, we also use Spare Room and Easy Roommate because we are providing short-term lets. We also use the local estate agents for people coming in. Again, that's direct bookings. We talk a lot about that on the course. How to get the look, you know, studio style, nice flat sheets. Ben, well done, mate. Every time you got the flatter sheets. There's a little trick, actually. If you lay your bedspread down like that and it looks a bit creased, get a bottle of liquid starch, spray it over it, and then it will just like stiffen it up, and it will get rid of a lot of wrinkles. Little hotel trick. Not something I made up, something I learned from a hotel. You've got to dress it for your photos, make it look like this. You know, paint the picture of, you can sit at the table, dining table, put art on the wall, you know, put your finger over the screen and cover the art. It looks really bare. So you've got to make it look nice, you know, homely. Kitchen, provide everything. Toasters, kettles, a whole lot. So Ali's, who's going to be doing all our furniture, they provide all of this. It's one-stop shop. Just go, there you go, Ali. In you go. Thanks very much. We're done. There's a new way of folding bedspreads, and you axe the cushions. It's what a lot of boutique luxury hotels do. Again, get it all set up. This is a period home that we have. That's a gated development we have right next to a posh cafe. Different styles of furniture suit different properties and different guests. So you need to know exactly what type of guests you're going to put in, what it suits, what the property is, and that type of thing. So the period home, you can see it's furnished very differently. Again, this one is gone. This is not the final photos. This is one of my students. They sent me these photos the other day. Just they're going with the red theme. These are the guys from Sam and Cal. Awesome job, guys. And they've just taken over. This is a four apartment block, so they've got their own apartment hotel. Awesome work. Very proud of you guys too. So one clear path, one clear framework. Yes, I'm making it sound very simple. Around that framework, we spend a whole day working on the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s of each one of those sections. We do a lot on due diligence. We teach you how to use the contracts. We teach you how to talk to agents. We teach you about how to prepare with agents, how to prepare yourself physically, what words to use, what not words to use, what words not to use, should I say. Got that from fuck that up, didn't I? We also teach you about, your mannerisms and your body language and how you say a word and how you don't say words. So this is really about first impressions. After that, you can more or less sort of, be yourself. But there's loads of that we teach. We teach you about, we have a look at your area and we have a look at the micro areas within your area. Don't be offended if I do actually tell you, mate, that area is not going to work. You need to move to another area. Sometimes it happens. Less often, really, than not. But it does happen. So how much is realistic? The average income that you should be able to generate in the first 1 to 3 months. It's up to you, really, what you do and how much work you put in. But on average, it's actually probably below average for our students. But if you were to make $1,000 a month in profit and you were to get 3 deals and 1 a month in the first 3 months, and you should do that, no problem if you've got the right mindset. It's an extra 36K a year. That's a huge chunk of money. And, we do all right. And even for us, I'd say that's a huge chunk of money. If I was worth 50 million, I'd say that's a huge chunk of money, because that is money that once you've got this rocket ship off the ground, takes a bit to get that shuttle off the ground, but once it's up in space, it's orbiting. And that is your cash flow. It's the space shuttle going and orbiting around the bloody Earth. That is your cash flow. And if you want to add another 12 grand a year, go and get another property. So if you say, well, I want 60 grand a year, and don't go, oh, I want 250 grand. Do it in chunks. I did a bloody leg session today with a personal trainer. He said to me, right, we have to do 15 reps and we're doing legs. Oh man, it killed me. We're doing 15. He said, right, I don't want you to stop. I want you to think in your head. You do it in blocks of 3. Right, 1, 2, 3. Keep going, 1, 2, and then right now we're doing blocks of 5. Because even an elephant, you need to eat bite by bite, chunk by chunk. You can't eat a whole elephant all at once. So it's about getting your mindset right. And it's the same thing with this business. So how long and how hard would you have to work in your current job to get an extra 36 grand a year? Most of you would say it's impossible. I would have to change jobs, etc., or whatever. Some of you I know wouldn't even earn 36 grand a year right now. But that's not a problem, because you have a way to make more than that right here. But the deals can be much bigger. And as I've said, we generate way over, I think the most we've made from our properties is 3,200 per month. And that was June, July, August, September, and October. So awesome. So with any strategy in property, you need to learn the strategy. And to learn it effectively, you're going to have to go and sit down and spend some time with someone in a seminar or a course or whatever it might be, or a one-to-one. Depends how you want to work. And then once you learn that, you then need to execute. And execution is getting off your ass and doing it. And excuse me, there's no point in doing a course, especially ours, unless you're going to get off your backside and go and do something with it. There's no point in learning anything unless you're going to do something with it. You know, I know of people who have 2 or 3 PhDs and they've been in university for 25, 30 years and they don't work. That's all they do. And I've said to them, what are you going to do with it? Oh, I just love study. That's all I love. So they're not taking any action with it. They just continue to study. Now, if you like that, that's great. Go and do it. But you're in the wrong place right here, right now. Because I am a hard taskmaster, master. And especially for the people that I mentor is, you know, we want to make sure that you're going to make some money. And I don't suffer fools well. And if you're a pretender, you'll get found out real quick. So I suggest that if this is not something you're serious about, click off, go and watch TV, whatever it is, make a coffee, go and tell someone it's a load of shit, whatever you want to do. But if you're still here and you're serious about it, then if you learn the strategy and you get off your backside, I can promise you it will lead to success. 100%, no problem whatsoever. You do exactly what we tell you and do it how we tell you from what you learn. Go out and do it. Copy what we do. That's all you got to do. Copy what we do. You will be successful and you will make money. No problem whatsoever. So, like I said, information alone won't get you success. You know, think about what you would do if you didn't have to get up every day and make money. You know, talking about Tim there when we took him on a helicopter ride to France and that stuff. It was amazing. And we sat there in France having a beer, and I said to him, pick up your phone. I said, right, show me your bookings that you've got since we left the UK. That shows me his bookings, showed him mine. Like, mate, you've got more than me. What's going on? Right. So it turned into competition for the next 3 days. And it was awesome fun. And what the moral of that story is that we were making money sitting down drinking beer. We were making money because we got that rocket ship off. Our shuttle is orbiting while we're sitting down, eating, laughing, you know, trying to talk French, although with little success. So income coming in. Above all else, this is your business. And you work on a business, not in a business. That is a successful business. If you're a personal trainer and you only train people face to face, you're in your business. If you're a personal trainer and you do stuff face to face, and you build up your online business, like providing, I don't know, weight loss, whatever it is, food, diets, that's something that you can earn and sell ebooks while you sleep. Or while you're in the gym working in your business, you can still have somebody working on your business. Does that make sense? You can ramp this up super quick. Get help from proven experts. We are proven experts. We do what we do. That's why we have so many successful students as well. And they are proven experts now. We get a Facebook group, take action every day. If you're anything like me, I don't relax. If I'm on holiday, man, I'm like this. I'm happy. I'm chilled. But if I'm working or in a day-to-day business, I'm always on. And what I mean by that is I'm always looking for the opportunity no matter what comes to me. I was out with Jason the other day in London. We were looking at a apart hotel with like 32 rooms or something. And he said, I've been watching you for like an hour. He said, mate, you're always analysing shit. You know, I said, mate, I'm just looking for opportunities. I'm trying to help you and me help each other. So if you want to come on a course, let me know. The offer is on the screen. I've written a manual. that you will get all included. You get the masterclass day. We do exercises on the day. You get all the essential documents that you need, plus all the legal documents from our solicitor, who is also a rent-to-renter, so he understands it inside out. Pardon me. If you do JV agreements, he'll put those together as well for you. Heads of terms and SPVs and that type of thing, if that's what you want to do. Pardon me. I'm talking too long. So we're very energetic in our training to make sure you learn and retain as much as possible. You get full support from me personally on the group. On the Facebook group, I'm quite active in there. And on that group, there's both rent-to-rent, HMOs, and service accommodation, but predominantly it's service accommodation right now. Peer group support and accountability. What have you been doing today? What are you doing? We give you all the systems for automation. So, you know, have as little human touch as possible. We teach you how to do that. There is a special offer today. So the manual we sell all the time at $997. Not so much now, but we have. You get the full one-day class, all the forms, as I said. You can see the value on it. You go to a solicitor to get them right up half a dozen forms, see how much it costs you. So we provide all of this to you, the calculator, scripts for agents and landlords. To me, they're priceless. All the legal docs, total value of over £10,000. And it's a true £10,000 value. It's not a lot of shit that we've made up. It's a true £10,000 worth of value. We give you 100% money back guarantee. If you turn up in the morning and by the early break, you're like, man, I can't stand you, Ash. I think you're full of crap, or you know what, this is not for me. I don't think I can do it. I don't know if I want to be pushed. I don't know if I want to make money. I'm happy sitting at home watching Procrastination Street or Dead Enders, whatever it might be. Then that's fair enough. You go for it. If you purchase today, we'll also, and I know some of you have already purchased, but just to let you know, those who have purchased, you do get to bring a friend along for free as well. So please, if you have a friend and you're bringing a friend, just send me their name as well, because you'll get the booking form. Just email me their name, ashbanfield@gmail.com. That's ashbanfield@gmail.com. And just let me know their name. Here's Tim here. This is a while ago. But again, one small webinar that we did. It's what I do for the guys that I mentor. He's now tickling 40K. That's in 8 weeks. He's now like 5 months in, and he's 3 times that now. This is Harvey we spoke about, and all he said is cheers, champ. You can see his numbers there, 45 grand, zoomed up real quick. This is Sam. I can't remember what his date was, but it was about 3 weeks ago. He got number 7, so he's actually 11. He's got now because he took on a block of 4. Him and Cal, awesome job. So the total price for you, there's courses out there, the same thing, you know, the same thing, maybe less, and they're trying to pump out 1,500 quid for you to spend a day with them. Unbelievable. Please don't do it. This is $497 plus VAT for 2 people. If you could split the cost for 248, 50 each. You know, do what you want with the 50p. You can split this cost with them, or you can treat them today. Because I tell you what, if you do, and they're the right person, it will change their life. Change their life forever. You could be the next Nigel Moss. You could be the next Jimmy London. You could be the next Sam and Cal. You could be the next Harvey Singh. You could be the next me. You could be the next whoever you want to be. You could be the next you making money and getting that freedom. This is an awesome one that a friend of mine, Andy Harrington, sent. And this is about the income that people make. You got the worker, you got the self-employed. When we talk about self-employed, it's when you're working in the business. You know, the PT trainer, you're having to be there. So you're always running around. You know, you're making a bit more money maybe than a paid worker, but it's the business owner and the investors, the ones who make the money. Now, when I said on the previous slide, above all else, this is your business. You must treat it like a business, whether you stick with just SA or you go on to do Jason and Sarah with the whole developments and that type of thing. It's up to you. We do developments, but we do the whole lot because we love it, and it's embarrassingly profitable. But if you're a business owner, it means that you can work on your business and you can leverage other people's time, other people's education, other people's money, other people's property, other people's knowledge, whatever it might be. And you just basically, you're the puppet master. And then from there, you can also be the investor, because what you do with that money. So the rich man thinks, I earn money, I keep it, I invest it. The stuff that they keep is the money that is disposable, if you like. You have your set money, but too many people will go out and earn big money and spend the whole freaking lot. This is why if you earn 20 grand a year, you spend 20 grand a year. If you earn 100 grand a year, you spend 100 grand a year. That's the worker. The self-employed is just, it's one-man band and, trying to do too much here, there, everywhere. So the business owner then builds up their little cash pot. Remember I said I don't spend any money out of my service accommodation pot. That will then be used as an investment. That's probably the way we're going to do. We just don't know where we're going to invest it. And then guess what? The money that we invest, that's another income stream. It's making money on its own. I might invest it in Sarah and Jason. I might invest it in one of you. I don't know. But that's, so when you're a business owner, you get a double whammy. You get two lots of income. And depending on what business you want to own, another business, you get multiple streams of income. It's that simple, really. How do you invest? Pardon me. I'm just about to go. Look on your screen. You just hit the blue button, book now. PayPal, credit cards, whatever you want to use to pay. It's all there. Join us on social media. We're on a Facebook group. We're on YouTube. On the YouTube channel, there are tons of videos on teaching you stuff about service accommodation, other webinars, that type of thing. So if some of you haven't purchased and you're not quite sure right now, have a look there. It might sway you or towards it, or it might say, you know what, fucking hell, this is not for me. We're also on Instagram. We put a lot of motivational stuff on there. So if it's just motivational stuff you want on a daily basis, little quotes and that type of thing, follow us on Instagram. If you want to learn from videos and educational videos, follow us on YouTube. If you want all of that, you hit us up on Facebook, and we look forward to meeting you. So unless there are any other questions, let me have a quick look. I'm still here, look. I've got a very sore throat, and I think my eyes are starting to go red. But it's been a solid, what do we got? It's almost 2 hours. Wow. Really, thank you. Okay, so somebody's saying they've tried to book, but it's saying not available. If you just hold tight there. Excuse me for coughing, so rude. I will send you a separate link here. So if you look at this link is for November. And then if you want December, the last one for the year, then you will need to use the following link. So let's try that. Let me just put December in front of this one so you don't get confused. And there's December. So you can see they're slightly different on the numbers, but everything's there. And thank you all. Thank you as well. Any other questions, just let me know. I know it's been a long webinar, and I really, truly thank you for those who stuck with it. Fantastic. Excellent. Okay, that's good. You got that. This is huge action taken for all of you, and I hope you've learned something from both rent to rent, service accommodation, and also, the journey that you can continue on if you want to. Service accommodation is a business that I will continue in for a long time, because it's so quick to set up and the profit is returned very quickly. And if you're looking to invest, if you don't have time, you want to invest, let us know, because Jason and Sarah have projects coming up, They're always looking for people to invest and help with them. And if it's rent to rent service accommodation that you want to invest in, but you don't have the time, you will need to do the course, because you need to understand it, what you're investing in. And yeah, we'll take it from there. Welcome, Charlie. Fantastic. And Charlie Honor is on here. He runs a company called Advanced Rent, which is one of the companies that we use to get around paying deposits. He's also on our private group. Look him up. And Charlie's been a great help to loads of our students. So big thank you to Charlie as well. Thank you. I didn't realize you're on here, Charlie, but well done. Thanks. I'll sign off now. It's been a long webinar. There will be a replay that comes out in the morning. Feel free to watch it as many times as you want. You can ask questions through that replay as well. So if there's any questions that you've got to ask tonight, please let us know. For those coming in November, see you then. Those coming in December, see you guys then. Thank you. And I wish you all the success in the world. Take care, guys.